Recently I came across a video on YouTube revealing a brand new Mario fan game called Shy Guy Surfing, and you know what? It looked pretty fun. So I decided to get my hands on it and try it for myself, and boy am I glad that I did. Right away we're treated to this cute little cutscene of our protagonist Shy Guy walking along a beach. Apparently in Pipe Dream Bay there's no surfing or diving allowed, as well as no arcade-style 2D platforming experiences. But our Shy Guy has different ideas. Immediately we head into the first level of our journey, surfing on this magic carpet. In the first level, things are kept pretty simple. We have pipes to jump and hover over, fuzzies and piranha plants to dodge, and about halfway through, we also have a Lakitu dropping spinies that we need to keep out of the way of as well. Nothing too difficult so far, and it's the perfect level to try out all of these fancy elemental shields that we'll be finding throughout the game. We have a flame shield, granting us a flame dash that will destroy certain enemies in our path. We have a bubble shield, giving us the power to zip straight down to the water quickly and bounce off of the surface, and we have an electric shield that gives us an extra jump mid-air, allowing us to mix up our float and double jump timings for some expert platforming. The second level in this game is also kept pretty simple, with the same enemies as level 1, but this time instead of a Lakitu following us around the level, we have this Chuck throwing footballs our way. Level 3 begins to show a little more difficulty in the way of these slowly moving spiders, flying bats, and munchers sitting in place. Your maneuverability skills will be tested in level 3, especially with this spiky fish following your every move in the latter half of the level. But there is much more difficulty yet to come. After level 3 we have our first boss encounter being Meta Knight. This really caught me by surprise. I really thought this was just going to be another run-of-the-mill, get as far as you can type of game, but there's a lot more to discover moving forward. When fighting Meta Knight, we'll have to jump on his head a few times between his attacks to get things started. Next he'll back off and send out his lackeys using different attacks to switch up our strategy of trying to land on their head until he's forced to come back and face us. Now he starts using this whirlwind attack that brings us up in the air closer to him, but if you keep a level head, it's not too hard to best him here. At this point, I was very excited to see how far this game would go in the creative direction it's already proven to be exceedingly good at providing. In level 4, we have some tougher terrain to maneuver, as well as some crabs walking back and forth, and some fish jumping straight out of the water. The Lakitu makes another appearance in this level as well, but it's nothing too crazy to deal with, and I made it through on my first attempt. Next in level 5, we have a crazy desert level, and the reason that I call it crazy is that you really need to learn to adapt on the fly. Here we have these masks that chase you once you pass them. We have plenty of secret paths that we'll be falling into and needing to utilize in certain scenarios, and by the second half we have the angry sun coming after us as well. Level 5 doesn't mess around, but as fate would have it, level 6 was even more intense. Here we find ourselves in a boo house. We have circles of boos to dodge our way through, we have boos coming out of picture frames to chase us, and we have these bells that will dispel any boos chasing you the moment you touch them. This level was really creative, and they didn't even add an enemy halfway through to spike the difficulty. It was tough enough on its own in my opinion. Next up we have our second boss fight, and boy is it a doozy. Here we have Reznor, just the same as you'd expect from Super Mario World, but after hitting them twice from below they get a boo ring as protection. Hitting the remaining two Reznor will move us into the next phase where we need to dodge fireballs and push the surfing Reznor into the bombs on either side of the screen. This phase isn't so bad, but the next one will take you a few attempts to get through, I assure you. The final phase is moving through a regular platforming level while dodging bombs on the ground, this spike ball circulating the final Reznor, and jumping off of pipes to get high enough to hit him from below. This boss was pretty tough, but once we take them down, we move on to the even more challenging pieces of this game. For level 7, we have a snowland filled with falling icicles, snowmen rolling their head at you, frosted spiky dudes, and sliding penguins. This level isn't too tough, but right when you think you've gotten the hang of it, a Lakitu on a frosty cloud shows up to pester you through the second half of the level. This guy honestly isn't too hard to deal with, but if he catches you at just the wrong moment and freezes you solid, it can be pretty hard to save. The 8th level is really going to test your ability to hover at specific heights. We've got specifically placed flames to guide your flight, climbing Koopas you'll inevitably end up hovering between, and all sorts of other interesting platforming to conquer. Level 8 is no joke, but it's not unbeatable. It took me a few attempts, but nothing I wasn't able to get over. If anything, this level will help you in getting very much in tune with exactly how much you're able to control your character through tight spots. Moving into level 9, we have what is undoubtedly the hardest level in this game. This level serves as the airship before the final boss, and boy does it do a good job of it. We have cannonballs firing at high speeds, floating bombs all over the level you'll need to be jumping through, Goombas in planes that will shoot fireballs at you if you aren't quick enough to stomp on them, or do what I did most of the time and just lead them off of the screen to despawn them. And if this doesn't look chaotic enough already, we even have a Lakitu showing up at the end that will be throwing Spinies at us from up ahead. The angle he'll be throwing them does seem a little random, so it can be extremely difficult to get away from this level alive, but once we do, we are treated to the final boss. This Silver Server boss fight is easily the hardest challenge this game has to offer. If you thought level 9 was tough, you're in for a ride. He's got projectiles that follow you, bursts of projectiles that need to be reacted to very quickly in order to dodge, and you'll have to land on top of these rocks between his attacks to deal damage to him directly. It's not very forgiving with him throwing projectiles the whole time whether or not you'll be able to land on a rock without taking a free hit in the first place, but once you find your pocket, you should be able to do it. He dances around you front to back, and once he's been hit into the orange, he slams a huge asteroid into many pieces. Once you've dodged all the boulders coming at you here, you'll be shown his second phase. Here, the Silver Surfer will only fire his homing stars at you while you need to jump and maneuver your way through 3 elemental challenges. There will occasionally be rocks within these dodging segments that you can land on in order to deal damage to him, and once you hit him twice, the cycle will go to the next of the 3 elements. After you've taken him out in the fire, electric, and water cycles, in whichever order he decides to do them, then you have one final minigame to play with him. It's the classic play tennis with the boss until they lose gambit. It's definitely pretty hard to land on this rock as it's moving, and with the added pressure of being at the end, finally, of this crazy hard boss, it can be pretty tough to do, and oftentimes he'll send the rock up so high that you can't actually land on it again, but after a little trial and error, I had this section down pat and the game was over. Shy Guy Surfing is honestly such a sweet game, and it's easy to see how much love and care went into making it as good as possible. We've got a ton of costumes that we'll be collecting throughout our adventure, an endless mode that basically serves as a permadeath version of the journey mode I just took you through, and a cute golden Shy Guy with a crown to signify that you've beaten the game. If you want to play the game, the links to the download will be in my description down below. I really like Shy Guy Surfing, and if you like this video I made about it, please consider subscribing down below this video. Or maybe just click one of the videos coming up on screen now. I'm sure you'll probably like it as much as you like this one, so give it a try. Until next week though, my name is Myloe, and I'm out.